morning, everybody. Here is Sheila Speaks again. The 4 stages of recovery following narcissistic abuse. The first stage is remove them entirely from your life. Narcissists in general have no trouble ending a relationship on their terms. However, if you decide to terminate the relationship, expect a spectacular ending. What differentiates them is how they deal with the emotional pain of rejection. To put it another way, they will do everything they can to keep you from leaving. To frighten or persuade you to change your mind, they may use false promises, gaslighting, or even threats. It's entirely up to you whether to go or stay. Set firm and obvious boundaries if you decide to give them another chance. The second stage is process your pain. Healing from narcissistic abuse occurs when you choose to handle your emotional anguish in healthy ways. But it's often easier said than done. When dealing with a breakup, we frequently resort to unhealthy coping mechanisms simply because they are inexpensive and easily accessible. We bury painful experiences rather than integrate them when we avoid feeling our sensations and resort to maladaptive self-soothing behaviors. My advice for dealing with emotional anguish is to practice self-reflection. Think about all the items you've let yourself be manipulated. Is there anything you would do differently now? Were there any red indicators that you ignored? Practice mediation and mindfulness. Different mediation approaches can aid in the processing of traumatic experiences. Such practices, ranging from basic breathing exercises to mindfulness techniques, might help you cope with the unpleasant feelings connected with breakups. Begin journaling. And this is a very huge one. Putting your emotion into words can be very helpful. Writing helps you to express yourself, track your progress, and cultivate insight. It makes no difference how you journal, as long as you have a clear aim and make writing a habit. The third stage of recovery is to improve your self-esteem. Given that narcissists gain power by deception and intimidation, it's no wonder if your self-esteem has plumped after leaving an emotional abusive relationship. But before we get into specific steps you may take to boost your self-esteem, let me lay the groundwork for this continuing process. It's critical to focus on both the intellect and the body when developing self-esteem. To put it in another way, if you want to feel well emotionally, you must also feel good physically. If you want to boost your self-esteem, prioritize how you eat, how you sleep, and how you exercise. Courage, they say, is not the absence of fear, but rather the recognition that something else is more important than fear. So if you are frightened of flying, public speaking, or expressing your opinion on something, now is the moment to push yourself. Overcoming fear or self-imposed limitations increases your self-confidence and self-esteem. Develop a hobby. Seek out activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. If you've ever wanted to write poetry, play an instrument, or ride a horse, now is the time. The sense of accomplishment and satisfaction that comes from participating in a hobby is guaranteed to increase your self-esteem. And as well, reinvent yourself. Update your wardrobe, get a new haircut. Anything that promotes a positive attitude will naturally boost your self-esteem. Remember that self-esteem is something you develop over time and with persistent work. What is then the fourth stage of recovery? Discover how to establish healthy boundaries. I discovered that narcissists frequently disregard or overstep your limits. And sometimes and it's very often similar to borderline personalities. To put it another way, dealing with narcissist lover or colleague necessitates the establishment and maintenance of clear boundaries. It's the only way to safeguard oneself against their deception and intimidation tactics. Setting firm limits, on the other hand, isn't always simple, especially when the person you are dealing with is someone you love and care about. There is one thing you should keep in mind regarding the whole issue. I would like to encourage you to put yourself first. Before you set healthy limits, you must first put yourself first. The desire to set clear limits will almost automatically flow after you realize exactly what's healthy for you and which ones you should prioritize. Be forceful. Understand and honor your values, desires, needs, and aspirations by refusing to compromise them only to make someone else happy. Assertiveness is defined as the ability to express oneself confidently, to speak one's opinion in a respectful and non-aggressive manner, yet without defending one's position. Be explicit about your boundaries. In an ideal world, everyone would be aware of how their actions affect others. However, because you don't live in a perfect environment, individuals will continuously and often unwittingly push over your boundaries. It's your job to create clear boundaries and communicate when they've been crossed. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast about the 4 stages of recovery following narcissistic abuse. To recap, the first stage was remove them entirely from your life. The second one, process your pain. The third stage, improve your self-esteem. And the fourth and the last one, discover how to establish healthy boundaries. Thank you very much once more for listening, and I will speak to you next time.